Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the QuickBooks Labs panel show. It's a very different show today on our number 50, so that's quite a nice little milestone, right? Episode number 50. That's quite a good one. As you can hear, my voice is not recorded from Monday. If you was able to join us on Monday for Ask the Accountant, but we've still got a cracking show for you today. With me is co-host Johann. Johann, do you want to explain to everyone where they can find you, what you've got going for yourself, and give everyone a bit of introduction?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to QuickBooks Labs. Yeah, it's not really a panel show, is it? When I'm just the only person on the panel.
Good point.
But hey, we've got the best in class here, so that's all fine. Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn, etc. I run the On Point Accounting Group, co-host for Ask the Accountant podcast, and I'm part of the team for Client Engager, which is a practice management tool. So, yeah, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, and you'll even see my latest desk setup today, which has got a lot of people talking. Basically, I've got far too many gadgets, and my wife could probably go on another holiday if I didn't keep spending money on gadgets. But hey, that's life. But yeah, so yeah, back to you, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for coming along on this one. My name is Aaron Patrick. I am a chartered accountant, owner of an accounting firm called Varfix, QuickBooks trainer with fancy new logo, and that QuickBooks chap on YouTube in a different place today as well. I'm actually on my holiday. So here I am on the holiday, packed the mic, packed the camera, and then made sure that I got in time for this one. And why did I make time? It's because people like yourselves who are joining. So Kirsty, hello, everyone. Still croaky? Yep, I certainly am. Unfortunately, that sponsorship with Vocal Zones hasn't come through quite yet. Hopefully, this is what we're going to send to them to show that why we're deserved of it. And you know what? We have asked you many a times, Mister, and many a times you've not let us or not wanted to join. But if you are finally up for, what's the PC way of saying this, that you were finally ready to let your podcasting element start, then yes, we will definitely take you up on that offer. And I think they could be a spot for you as a cool friend before you know it, Mr. Wainwright. Okay. So just to make sure everyone is understanding how this works, we are live to the world at our regular time of 4:30 p.m. UK time. And if you're listening back to us later, then why not think about joining us live? And when you do, that's when you get the opportunity to ask us some burning questions, keep us honest, and make sure that we're talking about what we should be talking about. Furthermore, we do go live on podcasts and services around the globe. So please do feel free to subscribe to the podcast service of your choice. And we have a cracker installed for you today. So there are 3 stealth updates, I like to call them, come from QuickBooks themselves. So we're going to talk about those. And with a controversial point on one of them already. More on that in a moment. And then we've got some other updates around the world of Intuit, including some MailChimp updates, 150 of them. And we're going to count each one and go through individually. We're not, don't worry. But yeah, we're going to talk about which ones.
I can't count to 150, so we could do, and I wouldn't know.
149 is, and then Intuit's AI has been given a name, so we're going to talk about what that means for the industry. But first, let's talk about one of the topics that happened during the month of June. Was it June? Yeah, it was June, and that is the Accountant Council from QuickBooks was launched. So basically, the Accounting Council is an opportunity for members of QuickBooks as accountants to go down to
and bookkeepers.
And bookkeepers, sorry, yep. To go down to the UK office in Victoria, London, and have an opportunity to talk about everything in the world of QuickBooks. It's an invite-only opportunity, but it's a real great opportunity for us to actually voice our opinions on what's going right and maybe more crucially, what's going wrong as well. Johann, I know you weren't able to make this particular event, but you've been to events like this before, haven't you? Strategic partners. How do you feel so far, kind of from all the information you've had from people's feedback? How do you feel like the event so far is? And once you've done that, I'll go through line by line what was that, how the event unfolded.
I mean, line by line, that isn't redacted.
Yeah, good point.
So, I
And
mean, the first thing to know is these events are under very strict NDAs. So we can tell you we've been and where it was and when it was, but we couldn't tell you what was discussed to a certain degree. But
isn't this where you're going to use your fancy new tool? Because you've now got your new road, right? So when I'm about to say something, you're going to beep it,
I
right?
can sense you. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, perfect. As long as we've got that, we'll be absolutely fine. No, carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, I can sense you. I've just found the button. It's fine. I'm ready to go. So these events, what I really like about these is it's not sell. Like, they're not just here to tell you this is what we're going to do. Buy. They're not just pretending to listen. Like, I've been to a few of these in succession now, and every time I go, they make it very clear that they have listened to the previous meeting and have either started to implement change or have update you on the plan to implement change. So they don't want us there either just to blow smoke up their backsides. They want us there to be completely honest, open, and to a degree critical, but in a positive manner, like in a constructive way. They have absolutely no issues with us sitting at that table and ripping a part of a product apart. However, it's got to be in a constructive way, right? This is horrific, but by doing this, this, and this, we think it could be better. And I really like that. I think that's a very good approach for any company to have. But some of these bigger companies they don't like negative or constructive even feedback, and they just fill the room with fanboys who will never say a negative thing about anything they do. And they fill the room with fanboys like yourself and myself, Aaron. But we, as much as we are fans of QuickBooks, we are the first at the line to go and say, no, you've messed this up. That's wrong. That's ridiculous. So yeah, no, I think these sessions are of huge value. It ensures that we're helping them to steer the product in the right direction for I'm not going to say the whole industry, because not everyone's going to agree with our views, but the majority. There are going to be accountants and bookkeepers out there that don't agree we need a tool that we think we do and stuff like that, and that's fine. But for the majority, it's going in the right direction because of this one-to-one feedback that they're getting from us. And this isn't just one Intuit employee in a room talking to 15 or so accountants. That it's like a 1-for-1 ratio of the amount of Intuit QuickBooks employees that are in that room for the amount of accountants and bookkeepers that are there, and if not more. Like, the amount of employees that they invest their time into this meeting on this day is phenomenal. And I think that's a real credit that QuickBooks are going, this is so valuable, we want you all in there. And we want you listening to these people and taking on feedback and making actions. Whereas they could quite easily have gone, you know what, not going to include, we'll just send in 2 or 3 people and that's it. Whereas literally they have people from the sales team, the marketing team, the development teams, the head of different development projects are in there. Like, the people that actually need to hear that feedback. So it's not just going into 1 or 2 people and being fed out to a big team via, Slack or email or whatever. It's actually being listened to and taken on board by the people that need to listen to it. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this type of thing. I think every software should do it and should have a hand-picked group of people that are going to be there to not just blow smoke, but actually give positive and constructive feedback to help steer the product in the right way without just being a naysayer and a miserable person. And I think from what I can see, the council have been chosen, and the plan is this council will be the council that will carry on for the next 12 or so months with minimal change, because they want that consistency and that follow through available.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when to the point about that caliber, the council itself, the caliber of the council was brilliant. Like, I think if we had one criticism of what the old version of this was, then there wasn't a vast kind of breakdown of typical accountants and bookkeepers, was there? It was very much a case of here's a group, but they're quite similar. There was a kind of few outliers, weren't they? But very, very similar. In this one, we've got a mixture of loads of different accounting firms, loads of different bookkeepers, and that brings more opinions to the table, and that's what it's all about, right? So just a quick run through the day itself. I actually started off the day doing a podcast from QuickBooks themselves. Unfortunately, on QuickBooks Desktop, which for those who don't know, was sunlighted on the 30th of June. So it was a very difficult scenario to do a podcast about a piece of software that's disappearing when QuickBooks themselves could easily come through and knock the door down and tell people that no, you can't say that and you can't do this. So that was the start of the day. We were then invited for a nice meal where we got to kind of have an informal chat with everyone. And to your point there about being people there all manner of people from the firm there. There was BDMs, there was your business development managers, there was marketing people there, there was some of the higher ups there as well. It was really good just to see all of those different people that were there. We then went into kind of like the main room. We're in the office itself, so we're in their main kind of boardroom area where they kind of present, a little stage and everything. And my favorite part about the day then was they were very open about here's our 4-year plan or 5-year plan or whatever it was, roadmap. Now again, under NDA, we're not allowed to talk about any of the things that was announced, but one thing I will say is, QuickBooks have been saying a lot now that they are making sure that they are, the accountants are partners and they're seen as partners, and they want to, build relationships with accountants more. And if that roadmap has anything to say, we had a lot of positivity from QuickBooks Connect, and there's more still to come. So that's really positive, right? And that gives us hope for the future of what's going to happen with it. And then we basically took that learning from those roadmaps and went off to a little breakout rooms, and we were able to then basically talk to the people who were developing those pieces of solutions, those enhancements, and talk to them as to why, and explain, try and figure out why they did X, Y, Z, and what's working and what's not. And it was a really well thought out group. We got some amazing swag as well. So big shout out to Karen and Kate who sorted out the swag there, because it looks really good to be walking around with the accounting council jackets and whatnot. And I feel like
I think Karen's on holiday.
Oh no, it'll be there. It'll be there. And I just feel like, like you said about people there, well, join the kind of after event, if you like, where we're having a few drinks and got the opportunity to talk. They were inviting the developers, and I met the guy who changed the VAT date from the end of the date to the to the actual date of filing and items like that. From the date of filing to the end date, and it was people like that. They just feel like, oh well, surely not that big a change. It was changing the date, but actually, it's a huge change, and it needs applause for it. And I feel like that's the bit that really gives us an opportunity. It humanizes the product. We can see people who are working on X and working on Y, and why they've had to make these tough decisions to do X, Y, Z, and have those communications. So we're very, very honored, and we definitely don't. And it is thanks to people like you guys who will listen to the show that we get the opportunity to be on these sort of accounting councils. So it was a brilliant event. And next time, and as soon as we're allowed to talk about some of these announcements, we are definitely going to be making sure that you guys are first to hear about it. So that was the accounting council. For you though, like what do you think going forward then? Do you think these sort of things can we benefit from it? Because from them they definitely see the opportunity, don't they, of talking to us. But what do you think why should we be putting our names forward for things like this? What do you think people get out of it?
I mean, yes, it's an investment of our time. Yes, that means we're technically not in our firms making money, which is what technically we should be doing. But that investment of time, in return, we're getting a product that works for us. Like, we're steering that product in the way it works for our firms. And that means increased efficiencies for us. So actually, the return on investment is phenomenal. But by us knowing what's coming, we can start taking that into account when we're planning our processes and systems. Like we've known for a while what's coming with books to tax.
Yeah.
And for a long time now, we've got this plan like on the metaphoric shelf that's ready to be deployed once books to tax is at the point we need it to be, which allows us to drop various softwares, change our processes to be more efficient, etc. And we're almost there now. Like every single one of our clients, regardless of what accounting platform they're on, goes through QuickBooks working papers for their tax production and for their accounts production. Now, it stops at working papers at the moment because the accounts and the tax isn't quite right for enough of our clients. Like we like to have one process. We don't want, this is how we do it on, we don't have multiple payroll softwares. We don't have multiple accounts production softwares because it's not efficient and it's too time consuming to find anything. So for me, knowing what's coming means I can be ahead of the game. So on the day this is announced and people find out about it and it goes live, whatever that feature is, they're going, right, how do we think, how do we use this? How do we implement this? And they're having to imagine their processes with it. I've not got that worry because I've already done that. I've already got my plan. I just need to go and pull off the folder off that metaphorical shelf and go, this is what we're doing. We've had that discussion internally. This is how we're going to implement it. This is the value. This is the reason. Let's get on with it. And a few days, weeks, or months later, our competition technically, or our peers, however we want to look at it, will catch up with us. But we've got the nice little head start on them. So that, for me, is a huge benefit to being involved in this. And that's why it's worth me giving my time to be involved in it.
And to your point there, and we've said it on the show before, and we'll keep saying it again, like if we weren't putting ourselves forward and we weren't able to give this advice, then books to tax will be a completely different product because we got to see what it looked like originally, right? And we were very honest and very open about what we thought of it. And compared to what we have now, it's night and day. And yes, like you said, there's warts and all at the moment, but it's something to work on, right? And there's something we're confident it's going to get to an end result. Whereas if they'd released what they were planning to release, that could have been curtains for
they'd have been a laughing stock.
Yeah, it wouldn't have got off the ground, would it? It would have just stagnated. So we need like that's where we feel like we can add value, and that's what we benefit from it, right? We're steering a solution that if it solves our pain points, and these are our pain points, they're X, Y, Z, and these are them, and we're very open and honest with them about it. But if you can solve some of them, then accountants themselves are going to want to use it, and then clients will get the benefit from it, and it'll work on from there. Cool. We've had a few comments coming through. Susan says, I'm sounding like Golem. Thank you very much, Susan. Appreciate that one. Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. Kirsty says, yeah, bookkeeper, be more bookkeeper. Exactly. We're making sure that it's bookkeepers and accountants that are being looked after.
And they have got a good diverse portfolio of people on the council, from your big top 25 firms to big franchises are being represented there, like the tax assists out there. They've got representation there, right down to some of the bookkeepers and accountants that are just starting out and have got a dozen clients, maybe. Everyone's view is taken equally and taken into consideration. So that's what I really like about the council that's been formed, is there is a nice diversity there. They're not all from London. They are from across the UK. They are with a diverse amount of backgrounds. Pardon?
Scotland, apparently,
Yeah, they send a Scottish representative down every now and then. But yeah, like they have got a really good diverse background from all different angles, which I'm really liking.
Exactly. And it was even really interesting to speak to some of the council who were pretty much, they were zero through and through, but they've just started to move over to QuickBooks, and that their insights are going to be massively important, right? Like what was working for them on the zero side, and what ultimately did you fall out of that now you're coming to the QuickBooks side? I mean, like that's
Does that mean
big.
all we're going to see is font changes?
No, they'll be like, whoa, you've got more than font changes coming. they
You
probably
can
saw that roadmap and they were like, what's this? What's that? More than
What's a
anything.
developer?
Yeah, exactly. Kirsty's right here. Give that guy a hug for the date change. I said it should be more than a hug. I've actually plotted out for them where his statue should be erected, so that when you walk into QuickBooks HQ, you can see his statue there. I think it's going through consultation now, so fingers crossed. Next time we're there, we'll see his capture. It's what you put there.
It should be in that little, you know, when you look, you're in there like the bar area, and you look out across, and there's that green space downstairs, down there, where they do like live football and stuff.
Wagamama's and all that lot, isn't there? Yeah.
Huge, like Nelson-sized column with him on that. That's how important that little change was.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll push that forward. And AJ says accountant and bookkeeper council hashtag. Yeah, exactly. And I think there was a little social campaign as well. So, you know, maybe some of us jumped on that social bandwagon to promote it. Thankfully,
whenever there's a camera, Aaron's there.
Yeah, exactly.
What am I talking about? It doesn't matter. I'll just turn up.
They put the word competition in, so I was all over that. I was like, "Yep, you give me a chance to compete at anything, and I'll jump at that one. Don't even need a prize. I just need the word competition. That's all I need." So it was a really great event, and I think, you know, we now that we've kind of seen what's ahead, it gives us that positivity, right? Like shows like this, it gives us a bit of, obviously we're not allowed to say X, Y, Z. But when we are allowed to say it, we can then put context to it. Oh, so-and-so has been announced. But when they first announced it, it was talking about X, this, and that, and that. So, you know, you'll have to bear with us because we'd love to tell you about every aspect that's there. But unfortunately, our hands are tied. Now, speaking of stuff,
the lawyers that we will need to break the NDAs.
I mean, if anyone's watched my content, then Nick himself rang me to say, "Oi, don't talk about X, Y, Z." So, and that was Nick, I promise you. Yeah, there was no trickery there at all. The other bit that, speaking of stuff though that we can't talk about, what about stuff we can talk about? What about stuff that has actually not only been announced and released, but also released as well? So there's been a handful of updates coming through to QuickBooks over the past couple of days. So first one on the screen ahead of me now is a new task area, which for me, the most important and grateful bit about this is finally the dashboard gets some love. I love the dashboard. It's one of those areas that I'm always talking to clients about, especially this side here. It's so important to kind of getting your clients to be looking at this on a regular basis. They can get confidence in the numbers. They can see what might be problematic. You know, things like corporation tax balances can go there. We always do this, and directors' loan accounts, so they can see if it's overdrawn and items like that. Trying to get clients to come to here on a more regular basis is really important. And remember, they drop here as soon as they go into QuickBooks as well. But added to it is this new task area that's appeared. Now, at the moment, we haven't got the opportunity to customize this, and I imagine that's coming. Who knows? But that you'd have thought that's something that would come along. But the idea here, and also we don't have the moment to customize it like we do the business overview. So we got that feature a couple of months back. But this task area, though, is just giving us an opportunity to see that there's potential things that need to be looked at and need our attention. So we've got some examples here. We've got some overdue invoices from our customers that we should really go to and remind them. So nice and useful. These links then will go directly there. We've got categorized 74 transactions. Now, we'll talk about this in a moment, but it's also telling us about unlock X amount of potential deductions, review 13 receipts. Now, is that the one going straight to receipt capture? Yes, it is. So so going straight to receipt capture. So finally, we have that opportunity to understand. And yes, that was very helpful. Thank you for that one. It makes it really good for us to know that there is something in that receipt capture area, because the receipt capture area can get lost and can get missed. So it's good to see that. And then the opportunity there to pay one overdue bill. I do, hope there's some more customization in this coming forward. But yeah, what's your overall thoughts of this new change so far, Johann?
So I've seen this rolling out to quite a few of our clients now recently. we'll come on to the 74 transactions bit and
Yeah.
what it says underneath, because that's irritating me slightly. But as a rule, I really like this. Now, I would like to be able to decide whether this should show up in my clients get things done or not, because there's some clients out there I don't want fiddling with this.
Yes, very good point.
But having said that, we're actually getting to the point now where we're looking at, if there's clients that we don't want into their QuickBooks and they don't need in their QuickBooks. So, for example, e-commerce clients where we use Dexcommerce to pull in all the sales data from Shopify or wherever they're doing it. Technically, the only reason a client needs to go into their QuickBooks in this case is actually to look at reports. So I don't want them fiddling with tasks. So what we're actually doing at the moment is we're just not removing them necessarily, but encouraging them to use a live view, which SIF Analytics provide. So actually, if reporting is the only reason they need to have access to an account, their QuickBooks license, we give them SIF Analytics instead, which has a live pool. It displays all the information because we can curate that live view for that client and what they do and don't see. We can put in KPIs. So it's even more powerful than the reporting tools within QuickBooks. Because my concern is a client that's only doing, I don't know, just coming in for reports or even just to raise sales. If they come in and see 5 customers unpaid overdue, or they see overdue for anything written there, it's like, why have you not been doing my bookkeeping?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, hang on a minute. I'll decide what's overdue. Thank you, QuickBooks. We don't need you telling us, or my client, more importantly, if something's overdue. So that's my only concern about this. Now, if this is a business owner who doesn't have an accountant or has one of those old school accountants that goes in once a year, pulls the data out, and they do their own bookkeeping, yes, tasks has got its place. And yes, if they say, oh, that's overdue, I better deal with that and stuff, great. But when we're doing the end-to-end service, I'd probably want to decide whether we enable that for our clients or not. Just to save the hassle of phone calls saying, why is QuickBooks saying this is overdue? And it's like, well, it's not. It's fine, but we get your point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I do love this, and I do love for a non-accountant or client trying to do themselves, any pushes like this to kind of almost give them a task list is amazing. And
and it is a fine line to walk for QuickBooks. I completely get it, but actually that fine line wouldn't even exist if you had an on-off feature that the accountant controlled.
Or a customization button or something like that. And I know this is a hot topic at the moment, is how do we get tasks to client? Like, is there a way in which we can bring maybe the accounting review, the books review tab? Is there a way that could be a client facing one if we tidy up a little bit, make it more sexy, them sort of things? But at least the functionality of being able to get a client to do them sort of things. Because imagine you could offer a more discounted service to a client if they fully completed their task list. You know what I mean? Like, if they could present a set of accounts to your or bookkeeping data that's fully reconciled and this and that, and you could offer them a discount, it would jump at the chance, right? Like it makes our life easier, and we don't really want to be going through and doing all the reconciliation for them and everything else. What we want to do is help the client and give them advice and the bit that makes it exciting, right? Like, I do feel like more of these sort of things is better for everyone, because overall it's going to mean that the data is going to be better. And I also really excited about how this could be put into things like practice management, that solution, right? Again, I'm one of the ones they've got to convince is a practice management solution at this point in time. That's for another discussion. But if that can see this data and can get that data to us in a holistic view, wow, like that's going to be powerful to us, right? We could run reports, we could run our bookkeeping team, could have an opportunity to know what clients look at, what they should be prioritizing their time into. That's huge, right? So I'm excited that data's being shown. I'm excited it's there. Let's just hope that we do get some form of customization going forward. Now, relating to this, I just wanted to hear your opinion on this. I saw a a post, and I won't say who it's from. I'll keep it anonymous, but the whole post was this. The last tripe from QBO is this message in the super new home screen. You have potentially £9,900 worth of tax deductions to claim. Click it. You click it and it takes you to the bank feed screen, where in this case, the overwhelming majority of the payments to be cleared with a massive supply payment run and paying net pay. So no tax deductions from at all from clearing these payments. There is a small print that says to see a tax advisor, but the expectation's already been raised. A, do the client see these messages? And B, do people get paid to design the program there? So obviously this person wasn't at all happy about the potential deductions being shown there, but it's kind of got to be a carrot on a stick, right? That's how I see it. And yes, it's potentially showing the wrong things, and maybe there's a way to make the, back end of it be more clever about what's a deduction and what's not, and they could build that if they need to. But if you just forget about being an accountant for a day, just as a client, if you see that if I review these 13, there's a potential to save £13,298, then clearly I'm going to be doing that, right? I've got an incentive to do it, regardless if you're going to claim that or not. You need those incentives, right? Or do you feel like that the post is completely valid?
I'm torn. So, as a business owner, am I pleased QuickBooks is telling me unlock £1,600 in potential deductions when it comes to tax time? Yeah, of course I am. That's an insight. We all want insights.
Yeah.
Problem is, I've gained my expectation from that, and I've missed the asterisk at the end.
Yeah, true.
Which is the bit which probably tells me, please see a tax advisor to make sure this is right. And also, is that terminology right? A tax advisor? Do I need to see a tax advisor for corporation tax as a small business on QuickBooks? No, what I need to see is an accountant or a bookkeeper. A tax advisor in my life, in my world, is someone that high earners go and see to try and be more tax efficient, etc.
Yeah.
Can we scroll down to where the asterisk is explained?
QuickBooks.
Oh, we do love a bit of small print.
Yeah, can you read that? I don't think you can you?
Would you not be? So QuickBooks does not include income tax preparation, blah, 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 blah.
Or assurances, and so consult a tax preparer for tax advice.
It's very Americanized, isn't it, terminology? Yeah. It's not UK jargon. But what if there was then a link there? If you've not got one, why not have a look at our QuickBooks Pro Advisor directory? So it aids me as a business owner even further to go, right, this could be right. I need to look at this. Yeah, you're right. I probably should see a tax preparer or a bookkeeper or accountant about this. Oh, that's handy. There's a link to a whole list of people that are certified to use QuickBooks. That would be even more powerful and helpful. And it would leave accountants and bookkeepers feeling less like QuickBooks is trying to do their job for them. Yeah, I like the insight. I think it's just the way it's been executed is a bit of an issue. It could be better. And maybe if that warning was at the top of this screen rather than the bottom. So please be aware the below advice is subject to change. Whatever that disclaimer down there says, if that was at the top, then, and you had a link to also click and to see who your local QuickBooks certified people are and read their reviews, and because that directory listing is really valuable.
Oh yeah,
because it's maintained properly. It's not like some of their competitors where the more licenses you've got, the higher you come on the rankings. It is genuinely based on the quality of reviews, the geographical location, and which of the QuickBooks certifications these individuals have got.
And recertified.
And which ones have recertified, because if you don't recertify, you disappear off the list. You also have to prove that you are who you say you are by submitting a passport or a driving license. I have no issue with going through those loopholes because I know I am on a good list of people then. So let's use that amazing asset and put it in here. We think you could unlock £1,600 worth of potential tax deductions. if you don't have an accountant or bookkeeper, why not check this list out? Because I know the moment they put in, so when you downloaded the app, for QuickBooks a while ago, it started going, enter all your details. Have you got a pro advisor? Have you got an accountant or bookkeeper? No. Here's a list. And it took you through to the list of all the local ones. I know since they've done that, we saw a surge in the number of inquiries from our QuickBooks Pro Advisor listing. So I know that people go, that's useful. Like, I know from my own experience, people click on that because that's a useful thing to do. And actually, I do probably want to have someone to talk to about this. So yeah, if they can put that links in there, or that disclaimer in bigger writing and stuff, or even if the box is like a drop down and then it has, like, you click on it and then it drops down and it gives you that information per line, something like that would be better. And I will be feeding that back at the next council meeting.
Yeah, no, I get it. And it's difficult though, isn't it? Just to,
overall, it's a positive step forward.
Yeah, and it is a carrot, right? It's a carrot on a stick.
And the majority of people would be happy with this.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that carrot and the stick needs to be there. Otherwise, why would you bother, right? You're shooting yourself in the foot. All right, so that's the task area. There was another quick update. Blink if you missed it. But it's been a long time coming. And I say update. Actually, they're giving back functionality they took away from us. Now, if I click in the search bar, not only can I search for my numbers and recent transactions, but now, hopefully it works, I can now go back to searching for my reports as well. It's back.
Good.
Yeah. So
it should never have been taken away.
It should never have been taken away. Exactly right. Yeah. And I don't know how many people realized it did get taken away, but no, it is back with Rejoice. I know exactly the person to thank you, and I will be making sure that they get a nice drink or bouquet of flowers or whatever they deserve to go through and figure that back. Because apparently that was an American or change in America that just affected our thing, and it's taken them literally, I think, 6 months to get back. So good. It's back, and we're happy for it.
Very happy with it.
Yes. The next one, and I don't know if it's going to appear on this particular file or not. If not, I've got a picture of it. But here we are. Yeah. So add automatically, and you get the option now to do. We add common suppliers to your transactions and supplier list, automatically adding new suppliers. What do you think to that one?
So is this going to go, oh, that's Screwfix. We know what Screwfix is. We'll create a new supplier for Screwfix to save you going through and adding it as a payee later on.
Wow. I've never added Apron. Oh, who's Robbie Rust? I've never had Apron in my life on this one. And
neither have they.
That rubbish. This is a bad example, but no, the idea would be that it will create the supplier for you and put it through there. Now, we love suppliers and customers. It's one of those fields where you don't have to put it in, so most people don't bother. But what it does really clever for you is when you do that, it's going to start using the whole option there of being able to tell you what happened previously and everything else that goes with it. So
the power it gives you into reporting is phenomenal when you track. Like, the more data QuickBooks is told, the more powerful their reports are. There's no denying that. And there is nothing worse than a client going, oh, can you tell me how much I spent with this supplier in the last year? And you go in to realize actually 99% of the spending has been put to an unknown, like it's not being put with a supplier to it.
Yeah.
And you can't give them that information quickly and easily. So yeah, no, I think this is a great little addition. As long as it is going Apron equals Apron and that's accurate, that's fine by me. But yeah, definitely happy with that.
The only testing we probably need to figure out is multi-currency, because that's the only time where it can be a bit messy. If they had a customer, or supplier in this case, and they haven't chosen the multi-currency, then that could give you a little bit of a headache. But it's such a minor one, isn't it? That you kind of think, look, accept it for that.
Yeah, the chances of that happening are slim. Like,
Yeah.
the number of occurrences of that for the majority of people is slim.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that.
I'm just trying to find if I can find an account where it's actually done it for me. Here we go. Association of Chartered Accountants. Has it figured out? No, it hasn't. Why wouldn't have figured that out? I don't know. Okay. I have ticked it. So yeah, one for the testing books, I think. But if that does work, then we are, yeah, that's what we want. At least the intention's there, isn't it? Maybe it's a bit buggy at the moment.
It's just another, 30 seconds to a couple of minutes saved for everyone involved.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'm sure it's one of those things that as it learns using all the amalgamated data that QuickBooks has, the more powerful that's going to get. So I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, cool. And that's my updates for QuickBooks for this past couple of time. Minor, but tweaks, but at least we've got a few updates. I mean, we don't want to say about the opposition or anything, but you know, even those updates are more they've had in the past year. So no, I'm happy with that.
I think summertime's always a bit of a quieter time for updates with QuickBooks. You know, they have development teams across the world, but you know, they're also coming to their end of their financial year. So QuickBooks' financial year runs August to July. So, you know, we potentially do expect the developments to be slowing down a bit June, July time, and then ramping up again as we get ready for all the big QuickBooks Connect events in the early start of next year. So, yeah, I would say it's probably in line with the amount of developments and stuff we've seen in previous Junes. So I can't think of any big releases that have ever come out in a June month. Is there?
I mean, no, not we can think of actually.
I just think I think it's nice though that we're still getting little releases like this. Like,
yeah,
you know, they're releasing it as it's ready. They're not holding it all back just for some big event. You know, like there are software companies out there that will have a horde of new updates that could have released over the year, but they're saving them for the next big PR event. And it's like, actually, that's no benefit to anyone. Let's just get this stuff out in product so it's actually adding value straight away. So yeah.
It's a good job Client Engager doesn't do that. Otherwise, it could be a 5-day event, right?
We'd need a fortnight. Yeah, because
can you come to our 5-day conference when we announce all our new changes?
Yeah. Bring a lot of notepads. You're going to need them.
Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, so some good updates there. We're happy with that one. Speaking of updates, actually, before we do, because I meant to mention it as another public service announcement, QuickBooks Desktop has been and gone now. So the deadline for
it's over, people. Move on. Accept it.
Oh, there's people who love QuickBooks Desktop. But what I would say there are the people out there who were still shocked on the 1st of July to find that they couldn't have access to their.
I saw some posts today and they were suddenly shocked that it's gone. Well, yeah, they weren't lying to you.
Yeah.
Like someone literally went, I can't believe they've turned it off. It's like, I know they've been saying it for years, but I can't believe it. It's like, yeah, it's not HMRC. Like there wasn't going to be a last minute delay.
Well, in fairness, it was supposed to go off 31st of January, wasn't it? And then I suppose they realised 31st of January. Yeah, 31st of January was a bit of a difficult time to switch it off. I think that was one of the problems.
Know your industry.
Yeah, exactly. So we've had the warnings. It's now gone, and yeah, QuickBooks Desktop no more. From the little bit of interactions I've had with people, it seems like majority of people, like 80% of them, yes, it's gone for good. They can't have access to it now. There is a tool there to kind of go back to data if you really need to. There's a handful of them who seem to be able to get access to it on a read-only basis. There's a handful that seem to have a little bit of access to the data as well, but they won't have any support or any opportunity to file to MTD or anything like that, VAT. And then there's a couple of people out there who have decided to put their computers on a time warp and disconnected from the internet, put it into a corner, and turn the clock back by 2 years. Now, we're not condoning that at all, but they seem to be working quite fine. So, yeah.
I still don't think this internet thing's going to catch on.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
But
a gimmick.
but as a plug, go back to some of the videos that we've already done. Me and Roz done 2 sessions now on QuickBooks Desktop, on QuickBooks on QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, and we talk about all your options and everything else. So if you are still out there, then heed our warning. Okay, next bit of update. So we're going to go for the rest of the Intuit family now, and we're going to go to the MailChimp, who's launched 150 new features. So
I hope
someone
rushing off to get their dinner. Sit tight, people.
Someone was trying to steal the client engager crown at that point, weren't they? Yeah. So I mean, look, I think MailChimp is due in the UK to be a big push for next year. 2024 is what they're talking about. MailChimp actually had a huge event, didn't they? Which we saw at the same day of Digital Accounting Show.
Yeah, they did, and it was sold out months ago. Like, Intuit employees couldn't get tickets. Like, this thing went quick.
Yeah, the lineup was pretty insane. Stephen Bartlett, there was all sorts of people there, wasn't there? And also, some of the ticket prices were crazy as well. They were like VIP packages and all sorts. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, that's a sign of things to come for the, MailChimp coming to the UK and seeing some kind of investment coming that way. But 150 new features, that's pretty impressive, right? I mean, they are putting a lot of this into their e-commerce side of thing. Their whole idea of trying to take on the likes of Squarespace and everything else. I think we're both under the impression that that's a big task. There's obviously still growth there to be made, but that seems like there's a lot of big players in that market. So we are hoping that not too much of the resources kind of go into that. I feel like that could be a difficult ask to be able to bring that through. But with all the features that come in, and with some of those being related to QuickBooks integration as well, and what they can do with that data, it's going to be exciting, right? When it finally kind of properly comes to UK. We've dabbled with it. We will continue to kind of... Yeah, I had more than a tail off, but yeah, moving forward. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be good that there's so much innovation coming, especially from a team that's just been bought out, well, relatively soon, just been bought out and kind of adapting to life as the Intuit family and everything else. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. But I mean, what's your kind of use of MailChimp? Have you used it before at all in the past? Or I can't remember when your end.
Personally, I looked at it a long time ago when it was MailChimp. It wasn't anything to do with Intuit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was okay. It does its job. We do use it, I believe, in Client Engager.
Okay.
Not heavily. We're not big mail marketing people. I think I said to you the other day, Aaron, our mailing list consists of people that have trialed us and not continued, or current users. And we prefer communicating through our Facebook group, through Facebook Lives and videos and stuff, rather than sending out emails. But when we do have a batch of updates, we tend to send an email out saying, this is what's coming up, all these new gear, and there's links to all the different videos. So yeah, and it works fine. Like, it is what it is. I think the market that they're trying to get into, I think they're going to need to move quicker to get any traction in it. I think they've missed the boat, and that's e-commerce. Like, they're desperate to be the next Shopify or Squarespace, that type of thing. And I just think that it's too far gone. You're paddling out to a boat that's already halfway across the Atlantic. Like, you've missed it. And I don't think they can move quick enough to recapture the market unless they've got an amazing, some kind of feature that you just think no one else does that. That's incredible. That justifies the value 10 times, whatever it is. Like, if they came out with something that just made everyone go, that's one more thing. Like, that's incredible. Yeah. Like, then maybe, they could recapture the market. But knowing how Intuit works, I don't think they can do it quick enough.
So
Like,
I've got 3 points for that, right?
go on.
The first one was one announcement, which you've just basically kind of shoehorned in there, was the fact that they are looking to do let me make sure I get this right. It's cross-platform posting to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I imagine LinkedIn. Yeah. So
just from our own personal point of view, Aaron, we're posting all over we cluster bomb things like this onto every social media channel going. So if that can help with scheduling posts,
and it's a feature, it's part of the subscription you're already paying, it makes sense, right? Instead of paying
all of a sudden you're a bit more interested.
Yeah, Sprout Bot and all those ones that are out there, aren't they? And even Mulberry's happy about that one, so yeah, she's excited. And also there's the other killer feature that could be is QuickBooks itself. There's this big push, isn't there, for commerce stock management coming forward, with the likes that they've taken on TradeGecko, and they're trying to bring that in-house and trying to bring that there. Now that might be a QuickBooks Advanced only feature we're yet to see. But if you've got your stock management within QuickBooks of these multi-channel products, and then it's posted to your e-commerce platform as well, that's just connected because it's MailChimp, is that
there's a lot of synergy and a lot of value to be had. It's just, let's put into an analogy you and I know, right? Client that's never used bookkeeping software, general ledger software before. They're just on Excel, or they're just starting out. Getting them set up and running on any accounting software, but in this case QuickBooks, it's not too bad a job. Trying to move someone that's maybe a year or two in to using another software onto QuickBooks, or from QuickBooks onto something else, whatever it is, it's okay. We can just about deal with it, especially if it's a fairly small business where actually you just need the opening balances. That's okay. That's fine. If you try and move someone that's been into their software for a number of years and they need all the detailed transaction level data coming across, it's a pig. And it's not for any fault of QuickBooks or the competitors. It's just a huge job to move all that data. It's the same principle with moving e-commerce platforms, but even worse, because now you've got to move domains and hope you don't miss any sales and emails, and it's a beast of a job to move from, say, Shopify to another platform, or Squarespace to Shopify, whatever you're going to move. It's not just a plug and go. Now, Intuit MailChimp could launch all these new features and pick up new people to the industry and new e-commerce shops. But I suppose then you have to think, are we still seeing huge growth, or have they missed the wave? Was the e-commerce boom, that wave I always think that wave started definitely pre-pandemic, but it really picked up momentum during COVID when everyone suddenly went online. They had to have an online, every shop in your high street suddenly had to have an online presence to be able to trade and survive. Have they missed that? Is there going to be another wave? If it is it going to be as big? Probably not. So they will see growth because there will always be new e-commerce stores going. Whether the existing ones see enough value to justify the transfer, it's a different matter.
Yeah. And maybe they're looking, you said, is there anything they could bring to the table that no one else is doing? Maybe they need to start thinking about subscription management, because that is one pain point that Squarespace, Shopify, them don't really have. They have workarounds, but they're not great. And even for us, I'm just thinking our online store that we offer subscription-based solutions with Squarespace, but it's a very manual process. It's not scalable in any way. So maybe that's what they could look at doing, again, with the QuickBooks integration, with the fact that there's got recurring bill and all that sort of stuff. If they could nail it, and even, market it to accountants, that we could run an online accountancy, or at least a store
business academy, or
exactly.
type.
Yeah, if they could nail that aspect, there's not enough out there doing it right. So that's our free advice to you there, Intuit. I'm just cautious at the time. So there's just one more announcement, and it does, again, the one more thing that might push this is that Intuit have named their new AI operating system. They're calling it Intuit Gen OS. And the idea here is that they are fully pushing all of their a lot of their resources into it. And it's, they're calling it the co-pilot for accountants going forward. Now, we haven't really got any more details other than the name and everything else.
Tediously close to Microsoft's Copilot brand.
True.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
That's not their brand. That's what their slogan is. So maybe they get away with it. Yeah. So we will see, but definitely something we need to keep an eye on. It's definitely something we want to see in products ASAP.
Yeah, I want to be testing.
Yeah, it's good that they're kind of not just adding like everyone else seems to do. They're not just going to add ChatGPT and just tick it and be done with it and walk away. They seem to be trying to develop their own that they can then have ownership of, control of. It's a big ask, but hey, this could be that one more thing that changes everything and makes it more appealing to you. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that one. And that's it. That was today's episode of QuickBooks Labs. So Johann, is there anything you want to plug, promote, push, anything else? So that
Where do we start? I mean, we've got Ask the Accountant every Monday morning. And if you don't listen to it live, then please do listen to it on the podcast of your choice. We've got cool friends out there at the moment. Absolutely fantastic episodes coming out, really value packed with insights and stuff. So definitely watch out for all of those. If you are in the market for a practice management software that moves at pace, then please do have a look at Client Engager. I am going live to our community tonight, and breaking news, there's going to be 2 updates launching on Friday that I will be announcing tonight. One everyone knows about, the second one they don't, but I think they're going to like it. It's a tiny little thing, but you know what? Some of the smaller ones are the best out there. They really add the value. So I'm excited to go to the community tonight and tell them all about that. But yeah, and just keep tuning in to Ask the Accountant. We realized the other day, didn't we, that this is about a year since we started planning it. And, it's almost, we're getting to, October when we first did our first episode. So we're climbing towards that year-long thing. So, we'll do a bit of a review and a recap of how we've done and what we're doing coming up soon. So yeah, lots of exciting content for Ask the Accountant to keep an eye out for. So yeah, that's everything from me, I think.
Nice. Sometimes, as I say, it's easier to ask what you're not doing and not.
Well, yes. I've got a new office, and once being built, and once that's done, I've got loads of content planned for talking about AI and ChatGPT and how I'm using it in my firm. I did a live session to the Client Engager audience about that last week, and that went down really well. That was really popular.
Awesome. That'll be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to seeing that coming to fruition. And I know, there's a lot more to talk about AI. Speaking of AI, QuickBooks themselves says Gen OS has you intrigued, more to come. We are very excited. I think
so excited about that.
Yeah, the fact that you guys are doing your own and putting that just, yeah.
And I mean, I'm not expecting an announcement from like the likes of Free Agent, but not seen any mention about AI from Sage or Xero. Not even that they're going to plug into others.
Sage must have been maybe an acquisition in the pipeline or something you would have thought from Sage.
Probably ChatGPT.
Yeah, just acquire them. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Until they've realised how much it costs to run the thing. But yeah, no, you're right. There hasn't been much announcement. There was a couple of Accountex, wasn't there, of let's say PR announcements more than anything else, and actual functionality. But that's what
there are softwares, practice management primarily, that are looking into it, and that's great. But the fact that QuickBooks is talking about building its own, I think that's going to be a real defining feature. If you're sat there looking in a year, 2's time at the various options of general ledger software or finance management software, as they like to call themselves now, and you're looking at Sage, Xero, Free Agent, whoever, and there's one that's got its own AI, which is built using and analyzing data from across the world. I mean, how many small businesses does QuickBooks support across the world? Tens of millions?
Exactly.
That is some phenomenal data to build an AI off. And what they could do is pretty much limitless.
Yeah, we're really excited for it. And the fact they've got a dedicated team, a name for it.
They see it's the future.
Definitely. A few more goodbyes. So thank you from Helen. Yeah, great. Thank you for joining in. Really appreciate it. And Roz, we were just speaking about you on QuickBooks.
Ears must have been burning.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for joining us. And that is it. Thank you for all your questions, comments, and everything else. If you're listeners via the podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook so you can join us live on one of our future episodes. We plan to go live the first Wednesday of each month, and there might be a few changes coming your way to QuickBooks Labs, a few more people to poke their heads through the door. Yeah, some new faces, which is exciting to see. And that's it. Thanks again, Johann, for today's episode. It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Been a pleasure our end as well. So that is it. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode. And we're going to play with our now legendary video out when I can find it. And if you've not watched it before,
this again,
you're in for a treat. Cheers, everyone. See you next week. Next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next month.
As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with
Client Engager, NetTracker,
and with
Gold Cardless, Get Paid Easily, Cresco,
you'll get paid instantly.
Smooth,
Labs tracks your
Funding Options,
QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online. Can save money and time.
QuickBooks Labs.